He was super confident. Hi, everyone. Thanks for coming to class. This is 60 minutes of yin yoga. So you'll want some props, some things to support your body, maybe a blanket, a towel, a couch cushion, block, or bolster if you have one. If not, get creative. We'll get started in just a minute. Make yourself comfortable. Maybe put on a soothing playlist, light a candle. Yeah. If you have any requests for class, type it in the chat box and I'll add it in. We'll get started by opening most of the major joints in the body. We'll come to an easy seated position. If you're tighter through your hips, you can sit on a block or a pillow. There's a different seat you prefer to take. You can absolutely go there. Otherwise, cross at your shins. And from here, tuck your chin to your chest. You're going to take big circular movements, dropping your chin and then drawing your ear to your shoulder, focusing just on one direction right now. When you reach center, you'll switch directions. And then chin to center. From here, shoulder rolls. Lift your shoulders up towards your ears and then draw your shoulders down your spine. Up and then back. Up and back. Really exaggerating this movement, taking up as much space as you can. Switching directions. And then stillness in your shoulders. From here, notice what cross of your shins or your ankles you have. Switch out the cross. And then hands to your knees or your thighs or to the earth if that feels a little more supportive. You're going to roll through your center, your torso, opening up through your low spine, making big circular movements one way and then the other way. And find center. Take one elbow, bend it into your side. With your opposite hand, support your forearm or your wrist. From here, make a fist with your hand. You're going to roll your wrists out. Same circular movements here, taking up as much space as you can. Jeremy, you can come through. And then switch direction. Other side, release that one, let it go. Bring your opposite elbow to your side body. Support your wrist with your other hand. Make a fist and then big circles. Other side. or other direction. And release. You'll come into a tabletop position. Find all fours. If you prefer to drop down to your forearms, that's an option too. Bend your right knee, hug your heel in towards your glute, and then big circular movements through your right hip. Switch directions. And then right knee to the earth, other side. Bend your left knee, hug your heel in, circles through your left hip joint. Other way. And then left knee to the earth. Come up to a seat, and then you'll make your way onto your back. Bring a prop with you. So maybe it's a bolster or a block or a pillow. From here, grab onto your right shin, hug your knee in towards your chest. Take big circles through your right ankle. Switch directions. And grab behind your right thigh, bend and extend your right leg just a few times here, opening through the knee. And then we'll switch out your legs. Let your right leg fall heavy or plant your right foot on the earth. Hug your left knee up toward your chest, starting with your ankles. Switch directions. And grab behind your left thigh, straighten your left leg, bend your left knee. And then both feet to the earth, coming in a supported bridge pose. So use a pillow, a block, a bolster. Plant your feet on the earth, push into your hips, lift your hips to the sky. Slide your block or your prop underneath your low back, just above your tailbone. Rest the entire weight of your hips onto your prop. If you do not have a prop available, take bound angle pose here with your feet together, knees open wide, stretch through your inner hips. Your arms can be any place that feels comfortable, maybe hands by your sides, hands to your hips, or arms extended up overhead. You can even interlace your hands or grab for opposite wrists. And close your eyes. Let the entire weight of your hips fall onto your prop. If it doesn't feel good, your prop is probably too far up your spine, so try sliding it closer towards your heels. And your legs can take any shape. Knock your knees together or draw your legs out long in front of you. And just notice when the urge or desire to move comes up or when your thoughts wander. Stillness and silence can be quite challenging. And in those moments, maybe you deepen your breath or create a mantra or a phrase for yourself to repeat with each breath in, each breath out. We've got about another minute here. If you'd like to take waterfall, send both legs to the sky. Keep a bend in your knees. And tuck your hips slightly toward your face. Your legs will stay extended without much effort. If you try it and it's not what you need, plant both feet back to the earth. Take 2 full breaths. And lift your hips. If you've got a prop or block underneath you, slide it off to the side. Lower down one bone at a time. Fallen bridge, knock your knees together, send your feet wide. Stillness, or drop your knees right to left. Hug your knees into your chest. Give yourself a squeeze. Happy baby, grab for the outside edges of your feet, maybe your ankles or even the backs of your thighs. We're here for about 10 breaths, so make this as active as you'd like. Use your upper arms to draw your knees towards the earth. Can you keep tension out of your head, neck, and shoulders? Lengthen your tailbone down. Work to keep your head, neck, and shoulders grounded. If movement feels good here, sway side to side. And release your grip. Hug your knees into your chest. Give yourself a squeeze. Grab from behind your thighs. Start to rock and roll up to a seat. And we'll come into half butterflies. You can sit on a block or a prop to elevate your hips if you're tighter through your hamstrings or your low back. Feel weight even through your hips. Then turn your torso to frame your extended leg. Your right leg comes out. Your left foot will come into your inner thigh. If you have sensitive knees, you may want to support your bent knee with a prop. And take a breath in, send your arms high, turn your shoulders towards your right leg, exhale, fold. Now you can keep this passive, bend your right knee, let gravity fold you forward, or make it more active, grab onto your feet, your ankle, your calves, and use your upper arms to pull your chest towards your thigh. Let tension melt away from your upper body. Four breaths. Come all the way up. You'll switch out your legs. Let your left leg come out. Bring your right foot to your inner thigh. Feel your weight even through your hips. Turn your shoulders over your left leg and exhale, you fold, choosing if this is passive, letting gravity do the work, or active as you draw your chest closer to your left thigh. You can keep your left knee as bent as you need to. You're here for about a minute. Four breaths. Inhale, come all the way up. Cross at your ankles and then roll forward to a tabletop. Inhale, cow pose. Drop your belly, slide your heart forward. Exhale, cat, round and curl. Inhale, cow. Exhale, cat. Just take a few more on your own. You can add in any movement you'd like. And coming into child's pose, draw your knees wide, sit back onto your heels. Crawl forward to rest your forehead onto the earth or any of your props. You've got about 4 full minutes here. If you're gazing one way, you'll switch out your direction halfway through. Know that it's never necessary to feel your deepest expression of the stretch right away. Since you have 4 minutes, ease yourself into it. When you feel the sensation or the stretch lighten or lessen, add on from there, come in a little deeper. When you're halfway through, switch out your gaze if you're looking one way. Take a full round of breath. And gently press back into tabletop. Take your time. Walk both knees in, send one leg out and back, the other leg out and back. If it feels good, find down dog, tuck your toes, send your hips high. We'll come into half pigeon or any version of pigeon. So if you're finding half pigeon, bring your right knee to your right wrist. Send your left leg long behind you. Option to stay upright. Option to fold forward. If this bothers your front knee, you'll flip onto your back. Take the supine variation with your right ankle on top of your left thigh. If you want more, come into full pigeon, also known as fire log. Come to a seated position. Your left shin is on the bottom. Grab your right ankle, bring it on top of your left thigh. Even out your weight through your hips. Your shins stack. Your ankles will flex. So if you look down, you see a triangle shape. Option to stay upright. If you want a little more, fold forward any amount. If you have a huge space between your top knee and bottom ankle, find some support with a block or a prop. You can switch between postures at any point. You've got 4 full minutes here. Halfway through this side. Take a breath in. Stay for your breath out. If you're on your back, you can switch out your legs, hug your knees into your chest as you do so. If you're in half pigeon, push up to tabletop or down dog. You can bend your right knee, roll out your hip. If you are in full pigeon, plant your feet, drop your knees side to side. And then you'll set up for the other side. Your right shin is in line with the top of your mat. For full pigeon, left ankle comes on top. If you're in half pigeon, bring your left knee to your left wrist. Crawl your right leg long behind you. If this bothers your knee, flip onto your back. Your left ankle comes on top of your right thigh. And 4 minutes to find your depth in your pose. Is there any area in your body where you can release tension or tightness? Halfway through this side. 2 full breaths. And slowly peel back. If you're on your spine, hug your knees in. If you're in half pigeon, press back to tabletop or down dog. Full pigeon, unwind your legs, drop your shins right to left. And this time we'll come into embryo pose, stretching the back, the spine. It's similar to child's pose, but your knees are together. Sit back onto your heels. You can also slide a block or a pillow in between your hips and your heels. Roll forward, drop your forehead to your mat, your hands by your sides. If your forehead hovers, slide some support underneath. You may find after a few breaths you're able to move your prop and your forehead will touch naturally. Take a full breath. Slowly press back. Find tabletop. Extend one leg long behind you, shake it out. And then the other leg. Tuck your toes, downward facing dog. And ragdoll, crawl your hands towards your toes. Bend your knees, again stretching through the spine. So bend your knees as much as you'd like, taking pressure off your low back. You can grab for opposite elbows. Maybe even wrap your forearms behind your kneecaps, grabbing for your wrists or elbows. Let your head and neck relax. Thirty more seconds. Release your grip if you have one. Crawl back to down dog. Tap your knees to the earth, flowing through a few cow cats. And from your tabletop, puppy pose or heart opener, crawl your hands forward, drop your forehead to your mat. If that's too much, slide a block underneath your forehead. Keep your hips high over your ankles or over your knees. Then use each exhale to melt your chest towards the earth. You can stay active in your arms, push into your fingertips, lift your wrists, forearms, elbows, or let them drop to the earth. If you want a little more, bring your chin to your mat, gaze forward. Just avoid dumping weight into your neck. Inhale, come back to tabletop. Flow through another round of cow cats. Maybe you flip your wrists towards your knees, your fingers towards your knees, your wrists forward, stretching through your forearms. And we'll come into frog pose, opening the inner hips this time. If it's too much, you'll take another set of child's pose or come onto your back for bound angle pose with your feet together, knees wide. If you're taking frog, send your knees wide. Rather than your big toes touching though, your shins come out from your knees, rotate the inner arches of your feet down to the earth so your big toes touch your mat. The farther apart your knees, the more of a stretch you're gonna feel. So maybe you slide them farther apart as we hold. And then shift your hips back towards your heels. Option to drop your chest towards the earth. The closer your chest to the earth and the closer your hips towards your heels, the more of a stretch you'll feel as well. So if it's too much, you can lift your hips, lift your chest, or draw your big toes closer together. Also an option to flip onto your back and take bound angle pose with your feet together, knees open wide. And halfway through, you're looking one way, switch out your gaze. Two full rounds of breath. And gently push into your hands, slide your big toes closer together. Walk one knee in, walk the other knee in. Find any release that feels good, a cow cat, or extend your legs back. We'll come into one more inner hip stretch, Malasana frog squat. You can sit on any amount of props here, especially if you're tighter through the hips or your back. Align your knees over your ankles. Your knees and toes point in the same direction. And use your elbows to push into your inner thighs. Send your tailbone down as you pull your heart forward into your thumbs. Lengthen your spine. You're here for about 2 minutes. So if this gets intense, you can stand straight up, pause for a moment, join back in, and close your eyes. You take the rounding out of your upper spine, and then the tension out of your head and neck. One more minute. Deepen your breath if you need to. Maybe you open your mouth, stretch out your face, shift your jaw side to side. Two breaths. An option to stand up, take a forward fold, or sit back. Walk your feet together. Extend your legs out in front of you. You'll take a forward fold from here. Fold over your thighs. If you want to stretch your spine, bend your knees. If you want to stretch your hamstrings, grab onto your ankles, your calves, your feet, pull your chest towards your thigh. 4 breaths. And we'll all meet in a seated position. If you're on props, slide them off to the side. We'll come all the way onto your back. Hug your knees into your chest. Give yourself a squeeze. Exhale, supine twist to the left. Slide your hips to the middle of your mat so your hips stack, and then drop your knees over to the left. Option to keep both knees bent in your twist, or straighten your bottom leg to the front of your mat, coming in a little deeper. You can always support your bent knee, your right knee, with any amount of props. Option to draw your right arm out, gaze towards your right hand. On your next inhale breath, come to center. Hug your knees in. And twist to the right, supine twist, sliding your hips to the center. Stack your hips one on top of the other. Work into whatever version of this twist feels best in your body. Your next inhale, find center. Your knees in, give yourself a squeeze. If there's any final movement you need, take that. Maybe it's another round of happy baby. Hug your forehead towards your knees. Engage every muscle here as you find gratitude for your body, everything it does for you every day. And exhale, release. Final resting pose, final shavasana, taking up as much space as you can. I want you to wrap yourself up into a blanket or cover your eyes. And take a big breath in. Hold at the top, sip in a little more air. Big exhale. I will leave you here resting. If you have more time, I encourage you to stay. Thanks so much for taking class. Have a wonderful evening. Namaste.